So tonight I am going to be talking about the movie 1001 with Teyana Taylor. So this movie came out early this year in 2023 around March. I believe March or April. But yesterday I got a chance to actually see the movie for myself because I've been wanting to see it for a while. In my honest opinion, the movie was great. As far as the setting, the production and all, it was great. Now, the storyline had me feeling some kind of way. It was a lot of mixed emotion. But then overall, you understand each of the characters. All right. And you understand why the characters were in the predicament they were in and why they did the things they did. Right. And I want to give a shout out to Teyana Taylor because I think she did a phenomenal job playing the character Inez. All right. So Inez is a young 22-year-old woman, right, who had just got out of jail for theft, robbery, and she was a hairdresser. So she was struggling, all right? All right, so this setting based on the year, this was 1994. She's 22 years old in New York City. She go back to the area, Harlem, which is, I think that's originally where Teyana Taylor is from. She from Harlem. So as she go there in this area, right, she's talking to her friends, laughing and giggling and whatnot. She see a little boy roaming the streets. And she knew who the little boy was. She was familiar with his face. So she approached him. And now this is the part that got me. Because I was thinking that she was his biological mother. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. So she asked the little boy, "Are you still mad at me?" And the little boy didn't say nothing. And then she asked about his foster mother. He didn't really want to go into detail about his foster mom. So the next following day, she looked for the little boy, and one of the kids had told her that he was in the hospital because he jumped out the window trying to get away from his foster mother. All right, so she ended up going to the hospital and seeing the little boy. And they had a conversation. And that's when she decided that, okay, it's time for me to take you up out of here and have you staying with me for a couple of days. All right. So she go through the struggle, trying to get her a place to stay, her and the little boy, so they could live together. Then eventually, she was able to get herself situated. So around 7 years later, 2001. Well, no, before 2001, she hooked back up with a guy that she knew from back in the day. They got into a relationship, whatever. That was her ex-boyfriend. She ended up marrying the guy. So in 2001, the little boy become a preteen. He's like 13 years old, 14. And then in 2005, he turned 17, going on 18. So Lucky, who was Inez's husband, he ended up dying from cancer. All right. And then Terry, the little boy, trying to find a job. And unfortunately, he was unable to do so because his birth certificate and his social security number had been forged. Okay. And he went by the name Daryl. So he found out from his teacher, who was also a social worker at one point. She came by the house with a social worker and a police officer. And she told him that Inez was not his biological mother, that he was kidnapped from the system. She kidnapped him. And so that's when he confronted Inez. And Inez told him the truth. That, well, I'm not your biological mom. However, I saw something in you. And when I looked at you, I saw myself in you. So that's why I had to get you out the streets, because I didn't want you to go through what I've been through. And then he asked her a question a long time ago, was she the one that left him on the street at the age of 2? And she said no. She said, I'm not that woman. I wasn't that woman that left you on the street. I found you on the street at 2 years old. Okay. And then she didn't see him again till he was about 6 years old. And that's where she got him and took care of him. Now, again, it was a lot of mixed emotion for me because the way Inez's attitude was towards the little boy, towards Terry. You know, she was coming out very aggressive. She was not very gentle with him. So I would cringe every time she was cussing at the little boy and, you know, going off on him. I would get upset because it's very familiar to me because I see women, or I have grown up around women that used to do that, cuss at their kids all the time. And it was just very cringy, like just cussing at them, just talk to them any kind of way. I just couldn't stand it. However, I understood later on throughout the movie that when she was talking to the lady that she was staying with at one point, she basically told her that both her parents had passed away due to crack cocaine. And so she came up during a time where the crack cocaine era was at an all-time high. All right. And then she got into the story about her being in a foster care as a kid. And she know how it feels to be in the foster care system. So what it was that Inez did not know what the meaning of love really is. She never had that emotional bond. She never had parental guidance. All she knew was the streets. That's all she knew. All she knew was foster care system. And then there was a part in the movie where her best friend, Kim, her mama called her a streetwalker. And that upset her. She was about ready to go in on that lady. And her best friend was like, hey, chill out. Hold on. Calm down. Chill. You can't just be reacting like that. She like, but you know, your mama called me a streetwalker and said all this, that, and other. And then with her relationship with Lucky, it didn't always go very well because Lucky came from a similar background like Inez, but he was really like more involved in the street life on a serious level. So he didn't really have parental guidance. He didn't really have a father figure. You know what I'm saying? All he had was the streets. So that would put him and Inez together, and that would brought about a bond between them. So both of them were broken people. And I remember in the movie she said, no, he asked her why he was in the hospital bed. He said, why do you love me? And I forgot what she mentioned, but then she go on to say that two broken people don't know how to love each other. And I said, well, damn, that's deep right there. Two broken people don't know how to love each other. And so the problem was, Inez did not know how to love. She did not know how to love herself. She didn't know how to love other people. All she knew was survival mentality. Now, she wanted to bring a family for Terry. She was on the right direction because she wanted Terry to know what it was like to have a family, to have a mother and a father in the household. Now, it might leave some question marks as to, was Terry her biological brother? Was Terry a child of somebody that she knew? It doesn't really say who Terry was, like who was his biological relative, right? But she had a bond with that little boy because she saw something in him and she saw herself. And she wanted to make sure that he has a better life, but she just didn't know how to really approach it. She didn't know how to really form a great connection with him because she was too busy trying to learn herself and trying to be able to build her character up. She was too busy trying to navigate through life. And then towards the end of the movie, when she gave Terry a hug, Terry appreciated her. He loved her. He said, you know, you the only mama that I knew. So when they hugged each other and they departed, she got in the cab, and when the cab driver asked her, well, where are we going? Where you trying to go? She started smiling. And that smile indicated that she did her work. So although his teacher told him that she kidnapped him, but that was the reason why she did that, because he would have been another child going from foster home to foster home, and he would have been experiencing a lot of abuse. He would be experiencing so much abuse to where he would have never had a chance to grow up as a kid and know what it's like to live a life as a kid and you know, experience a normal life. And he would have been in and out the streets. He would have did the same thing that he was doing in the very beginning, jumping out the window trying to get away from his foster parent. So she said, well, you know what? I'm not going to let this kid live like this. I'm going to take him under my wing. I'm going to raise him as my son. And then this also shows the gentrification that was taking place, because in the middle of the movie, the landlord comes through and he telling her that, all right, we gonna fix these apartments up, try to get everything taken care of, take care of your plumbing, etc., etc. But then he told her it's gonna take some months. And then she said, well, what do I have to do right then and there? He told her, well, you can leave. But it's like, well, what? She's like, well, where I'm gonna go? So when you got somebody, a new landlord coming through, right, and they fixing up properties, they're going to increase the property to make it where it's become unaffordable to you. But getting back to Terry. So Terry, the little boy, he got accepted to this prestigious school because he was very intelligent. He was very smart. So it was like a STEM program school. And she wanted him to stay in there because she wanted him to make something out of himself. So it wasn't about the school itself. It was about giving him an opportunity to be able to do something that is phenomenal, that is going to benefit him in the long run. So he didn't want to go to no prestigious school, but she said, you're going to have to stay. So again, I think what the director, the creator of the movie, I think she did a very phenomenal job, and she was a genius by how she put together the storyline, because it pretty much reflects on real life situation of how things were in the 90s all the way up to the early 2000s. So to really talk about the crack cocaine era, right, and gentrification that's still happening to this day, I think a lot of us can relate to that. A lot of us who grew up in the inner city know what it's like to have parents or loved ones that was hooked on drugs and being in a predicament where we have to learn how to survive for ourselves and do whatever it takes to take care of ourselves. However, some of us have never been in the foster care system, so we were fortunate to live with other family members or live with neighbors, right, who we call our extended families. But someone like Inez, there has been those who have been in and out the system, and it has done psychological damage. And as I was watching the movie, I can tell that Inez been traumatized. She was traumatized not only the fact that she lost both of her parents due to drug addiction, right, due to the crack cocaine, but she also been traumatized by the system because now the question becomes, well, was she sexually violated? Was she physically abused? Was she neglected? What happened? What led up to her behavior? It could have been multiple things, or it could have been all three at the same time. But what you can see based on how she interacts with Terry and her relationship with Lucky, although she was battling and struggling trying to become a better person, right? She was traumatized. She was broken. You know? And so some of y'all might think, well, she kidnapped that little boy from the system. She wasn't supposed to do that. No, but she basically saved his life at the same time. Now, in real life, you couldn't get away with doing that shit or kidnapping no child from the system because you would face serious consequences. You end up going to prison for doing so. Because if they are part of the state or state of the ward, if they are the state of the ward, you cannot take them from the state. Because they belong to the state. They are the state property. Right? So you couldn't get away with doing that in real life. And if you did, it will eventually catch up with you. You know, but Terry kept saying, I'm about to turn 18 in 2 weeks. I'm about to turn 18. I'm about to turn 18. That's what the little boy kept saying. So they were trying to get him go back to the group home. He was like, no, I'm not trying to go back there. And do you blame the little boy? No. Because he done had the opportunity out of the 11 years of his life to live, to be able to experience his childhood, to be able to go play sports, to make friends, go to a prestigious high school, and not have to worry about experiencing a whole lot of trauma and abuse. Now, although his mother wasn't the best out the best, but she didn't make him feel so uncomfortable. She made him feel like he was loved. And eventually he grown to understand her. And also understand Lucky as well. So we have to look at that from a real life situation where we don't know exactly what our mother's been through. You know what I'm saying? And so when I watched that movie, I thought about my mom. Because my mother was a child of foster care system. Okay. She only met her biological mother one time. And it wasn't very pretty. It wasn't a good situation. She seen her mother and she never saw her again. So my mother been gone since 2017. But she was that broken kid. She was that kid that was damaged. Yes, she had a lot of people that loved her. But when her biological mother, long story short, when her biological mother did not embrace her with love and pretty much told her that she should not come back around, that made her feel some kind of way. So a lot of these kids, they get into the foster care system because of their parents rejecting them, their parents being neglectful, irresponsible, for the most part. And they don't have the opportunity of knowing what it's like to feel at home because they worry about some total stranger taking advantage of them, abusing them, and only see them as a paycheck that they can get every week or every 2 weeks. And then when they get tired of them, they don't want to be bothered anymore. They'll send the system, go ahead, send them off to another foster care system. or another foster home, and then it happens all over again. The process repeat itself, and then from that process, another process repeat itself. So you dealing with a case with kids running in and out of one home from the next home to the next home, and they don't get that experience of what it's like to really be loved or be accepted as a part of a family. So that's just my thought on the movie. You guys need to get, if you guys get a chance, make sure y'all check the movie out for yourself. If y'all not, if y'all haven't seen it, it's called 1001. So the title itself is very unique because 1,000 means a group of people, right? And one individual. But it also refers to the address where they were living at. Again, I just think it was a great movie. It was very touchy, very emotional, cringy. But once you get to watching it, you get to see the overall premises of the movie. You get to understand the whole storyline better. So now you can be able to make better judgment and be able to connect and understand each characters. But anyways, that's all I wanted to get into tonight. So you guys have a good one. Y'all be safe. Until next time, peace and power elevation. Thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and shout out to everybody that's been supporting me. Check out all my previous videos that I have done so far. So y'all be easy. All right. Until next time. Peace.